I literally killed a woman and shot another. And I would like to speak to you about safety reform.
How about you don't point the gun in the first place?
Yeah, how about we start there? How about you quit shooting people on a movie theater?
There's our first step to safety. Don't let Alec Baldwin on the set with a gun.
Oh, man.
Get ready, set, go.
What's up, boys?
Is this thing on?
Yeah. This might be a wild one, huh?
You know it.
I dare say, by the way, tonight's me, Kanan, and John. We've got, I think we're a little worked up about the whole Rittenhouse thing. What do you say, gentlemen?
A little?
Well, first of all, what do y'all think about these sensual firemen being back?
This is the first time. This is right, Kanan. This is the first time we've had John back on the show for.
True. It's true.
How long has it been?
It's been at least 3 weeks because I've been in training the last 3 weeks.
Ah, that's right.
Yeah. It's been a little while.
It's been a little while. Yeah, I'm glad to have you back, man.
Yeah,
Mr.
dude.
Fireman.
I didn't know if you was planning on doing this one or not, but I was hoping you would because I knew you've been following this.
Dude,
Rittenhouse
I've
thing.
been following this Rittenhouse thing every day religiously, just watching this trial.
Yeah. Yeah, this has been an interesting trial.
I wish I'd have been able to follow a little bit more than I really had with the job and the funeral and stuff. I hadn't really been able to.
Well, with my job, I mean, I got a pretty easy job, you know. So I just, I go in the morning, I check off all of our equipment, and then I just sit there and watch the Rittenhouse trial.
Yes, indeed.
That's nice. I like that.
I didn't follow it very much live, but I listened to Tim Pool a good bit. He's got a podcast, and he actually moved to West Virginia here not too long ago. He's originally from like Chicago. I think spent some time around Philadelphia. He got popular during for covering the. Do you guys remember the Occupy Wall Street protests?
Yes.
When Obama was in there.
Yes. Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Yeah. Well, Tim Pool got popular for doing like independent journalism and all that, and now the old boy is quite famous. Quite famous.
This is something I was thinking on just a couple hours ago while we was eating pizza, celebrating the verdict. These so-called peaceful protests is nothing new. This has been going on for years. I mean, since back in the 80s, you've been having protests like this, just wild protests.
Well, if you go even farther back than that, I think the 60s, they also had a lot of the race riots and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
that's what I was
this
getting
stuff
ready to
is
say was, yeah.
This stuff is nothing new, but now it's such a big deal because it's like everything else, including, you know, COVID, the cost of living, wages, all that, it all now plays into political gain. So that's why it's such a big deal now. But like, there's so much of this stuff that is not new, but they're just making it such a big deal.
You're exactly right. It's not new. It's not a new phenomenon.
It's not. Well, you know, and you could even take that a step further if you wanted to. And a lot of people are, oh man, we're living in the worst days. Oh, okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Let's take that back a few years there, shall we?
Shall we?
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
I don't know.
I mean, there has been some horrible stuff that's happened. It's just that the you know, this newer generation, I think, has gotten softer, and
When you think about it, try telling a Jew in Poland in like 1940 how bad we've got it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's
Right.
But people are very quick to believe that, Kanan. They're like, that's times has never been worse. Well,
yeah. Well, you'll even hear it in the church realm. You know, they'll say, "Oh man, the times of we're living in such wicked times." Well, that's funny. Back in the 30s and 40s, you could go to a carnival and watch a strip show.
Yes.
You know, it's like,
Yes.
You know what
I'm
saying?
going to go back to the
You know.
30s.
Which carnival
Man.
was this? Just
What
for
carnival was this?
just for research purposes.
Search and destroy.
Search and destroy. In case anybody hears me pause, we got the news on here in the back. I got Newsmax played in the studio, and we're kind of keeping an eye on it just to see, because at the time we're recording this, so today is Friday, November the 19th. This podcast will come out the following Monday. So at the time that we're recording this, Kyle Rittenhouse has just gotten acquitted earlier today.
Yeah, buddy.
Heck yeah. Now, I've thought about this, and it would be easy for all of us to come on here and just spout the same thing, that Fox News and Steven Crowder and all these guys have been spouting. But I was thinking about this today, and unfortunately, I didn't have enough time by the time I thought of this to get somebody on. I would love to have somebody on the show that disagrees with what Kyle Rittenhouse did that night, just to hear their side of the argument.
Yeah, I would end up rage quitting.
Go ahead, Ken.
I'm in agreement with you. I would like to bring somebody on of a different mindset. That way, I could do what they call Rittenhouse. It's where you shoot them. I patent that myself. It's called the Rittenhouse. Shoot him in the chest.
The Rittenhouse.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, because I was talking to a guy today and was. Actually, it might have been yesterday, and I was asking him his opinion on it. He's a Democrat friend of mine. Very nice guy. I like him.
That piece.
But, and I just asked him his thoughts on it, and he proceeded to give me his opinion. But the thing was that what he was basing his opinion on was all falsehoods.
Yeah.
That he had assumed, because if you listen to the news from the left side of the aisle, and we all know who they are, you're given these ideas that are just not correct. But I would love to have somebody on that disagreed with what happened, disagrees with the verdict, and just give them their best shot and say, okay. In fact, I like what Crowder does. He'll go on these campuses and stuff, and he has that table with him, and he'll just put that sign up, with the topic, and prove me wrong. I'm like, yeah, I like that.
That's pretty cool.
I'd like to find somebody like that with the Rittenhouse thing.
Well, let's dive in balls deep here. What was this friend of yours at work? What was his stance? And let's just go ahead and talk about that for a minute. What was his whole thing?
He one of the things that he said to me was that to him it should be open and shut a guilty verdict, which was kind of surprising because you've even had people on the left that are coming out and saying, that they were wrong.
Man. Yes, dude, there was tons of people on the left. I say tons, but dude, there was a shockingly amount of people from the left that was saying, hey, this kid's innocent here.
Yes. And sorry, I was having you shut that off because it's messing with his. We're using more bandwidth. It's messing with his stream. So he's
gotcha.
Canaan starting to break up a little bit on me. I'm sorry, Canaan. Technical difficulties. You know how it is. When you're this famous, there's a lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure, a lot of things,
So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What was his reasoning of an open and shut guilty verdict?
Yeah, and like I say, that is very strange to hear because, like I mentioned, Anna Kasparian with the Young Turks, and it's hard to find an organization that is farther left than the Young Turks, and you knew somebody as well that was pretty far left that said that felt they were led astray on it as well, right?
Yes. When I seen it on Facebook, I was just scrolling through it and seeing it. I was blown away when I seen that this person was like, "Why are we arguing about this? This kid needs to go free. Like he did nothing wrong. It was self-defense." And I was just like blown away because very liberal-minded, very much of the left, and I was like, wow, that is shocking to me, So yeah, there's a lot of people from the left that is just like, this is ridiculous,
Yes.
Like my uncle said tonight, I was talking to him about it, and he said if they would have done a guilty verdict tonight or today, he said you would never be allowed to defend yourself again.
Well, and I think that was a lot of people's fear, and I did wonder about that myself. It's like when you set this precedent, because to me, especially when you see the video, and maybe obviously we can't play the video for the audience because we're an audio podcast, but I would actually like to bring it back up again and rewatch it because I haven't seen it since it happened.
I am fine with that, and I'll tell you what really got me is in one part of the trial, and you guys have probably seen this. And if I gotten a little mixed up, you can correct me on it. But I believe in one part of the trial, they asked the kid that got shot in the arm because he's the one that pulled the gun. They said, "Did he shoot you when your hands were up?" And he said, "No." He said, "Did he shoot you when you pulled your Glock and aimed it at him?" And he said, "Yes." I mean, right there.
But before that, actually, I need to find this too because I'm sure I can find this clip. He lied.
I know there's a lot of stuff leading up to that, but I'm just saying.
So
how?
So that dude though, what was his name?
Gage Grosskreutz.
Yeah, Grosskreutz. So
which is the one whose arm got vaporized.
Yeah. Which was fantastic to watch. But anyhow,
loved every minute.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, people can argue that Kyle didn't know what he was doing all they want, but he killed two and shot the other one's arm half off, so I think he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, that old boy knew how to handle that piece.
No
I'll tell you that right now.
Kidding. So what happened is this Gage, or whatever his name is, anyhow.
Yeah, Gage Grosskreutz, I think is how you say it. It's a very weird last name.
I don't know, so I'll call him Gage. How about Vaporized? Of course, call him Vapor from now on.
What gauge was he shot with?
Yeah, I'm just going to call him Vapor for the rest of the show because I really don't care what his name is. But anyhow, so he was on the stand, and he initially said that he was shot before he drew his weapon and while his hands were up. That's initially what he said. So
yes, I believe you're right, yes.
The defense lawyer then pulls up still shots from the video and says, is this you? And the guy's like, yeah. He said, what's that in your hand? Is that a gun? He said, yes. He's like, okay. He said, okay. Has the defendant shot you at this point? No. And then they move to the next still shot. It's literally mid-explosion of his bicep being shot off. And he's like, what's this photo? He's like, that looks like my bicep getting vaporized.
Sorry.
And I mean, it was good. And so the defense lawyer showed that he was lying on the stand on live TV.
Yes.
Yes, he was.
And so that should have immediately, in my opinion, that should have immediately removed him from the stand and been like, he no longer, his statements are stricken from the record. It doesn't matter because if he's already lied.
I'm in agreement with that. People. I feel like there's probably a lot more people that lie on the stand than what we even realize, and nothing happens to them. It's like what in the world, guys? Really?
Well, why don't we instead of just us doing our he said she said, which I'm guilty of a lot. Why don't we let's play his testimony or that section so that we can let people hear. And I'm assuming everybody that's listening knows what the Rittenhouse thing was about. It was during the.
So I got.
If not, your head is in the sand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I got it pulled up because I want to know exactly what they had charged him with too. Because even though I had followed this religiously, I really didn't hear a whole lot of the charges. So he was charged with first-degree intentional homicide.
Okay.
Attempted first-degree intentional homicide. So that would have been for Vapor.
Wait, say that one again.
Attempted first-degree intentional homicide. So attempted. So that would have been whenever
when he shot.
That's when he shot
Vapor.
Vapor.
Okay. Vapor.
And then
Full paper.
First-degree reckless homicide, first-degree recklessly endangering safety, and first-degree recklessly endangering safety. So they charge him with 2 counts of endangering safety, and then try to get him on 3 homicide charges.
Because he killed 2, right?
Yeah. Yes, he did.
killed 2 and shot another. And I feel like there's so many. I've got to really discipline myself tonight because there's so many rabbit trails I want to shoot off on because there's so much involved in this. But before we go any farther, let me play some of the testimony from Gage Grosskreutz that John was just talking about, where he was caught lying on the stand.
In the moment, I thought that the defendant was an active shooter.
Gage Grosskreutz, the only protester who was shot by Kyle Rittenhouse in Kenosha, Wisconsin last year and lived to testify against him, told a jury on Monday that he followed the then 17-year-old because he heard gunshots come from his direction and then came face-to-face with Rittenhouse. He described the moments before the teenager shot him in the right arm with a semi-automatic rifle after killing 2 other people with it.
The defendant had pointed his weapon at me, and I had put my hands in the air. Re-racking the weapon, in my mind, meant that the defendant pulled the trigger while my hands were in the air, but the gun didn't fire. So then by re-racking the weapon, I inferred that the defendant wasn't accepting my surrender.
Did you feel that he was going to point the gun and shoot at you again?
Yes.
Grosskreutz, a former paramedic, was armed with a handgun that night.
I'm interested to see how.
I had my Glock pistol.
I'm interested to see, because this is from Reuters. I'm interested to see how they frame this, because a lot of the other news, even after he admitted to pointing his gun at Rittenhouse and then getting shot, they still twisted it completely out of proportion. So.
Oh, absolutely, they did.
He said he was following Rittenhouse because he thought he might need to provide medical aid amid the chaos, and told jurors he did not intend to use his firearm.
Why didn't you take your own gun and shoot the defendant first?
Like I said, that's not the kind of person that I am. That's not why I was out there. That's not why I was out there for 75 days prior to that. Why I spent my time, my money, my education providing care for people. I tried to attempt a non-lethal way to end that interaction.
Under cross-examination, Rittenhouse's attorney sought...
So, first of all, they said he's trying to make it sound like he's making this big play that he volunteered his time as a paramedic to go out here during these. He is a convicted felon on weapons charges. Federal illegal weapons charges.
Yes.
He is a convicted felon. He cannot practice in the country as a paramedic. That immediately revokes your either EMT, if you're emergency medical responder, it immediately voids all that. You cannot work as EMS personnel in the country if you are a convicted felon. So he's trying to make it sound like, oh, I'm such a good guy by, I went through all this education and, then I end up leaving work and coming here for 75 days and, volunteering his time as a paramedic in case somebody needed medical aid. That's BS because he would have gotten fired from that job the instant he was convicted on a felony charge.
And I'll say this, I don't...
That's good to know.
I didn't know the particulars of what was going on with this guy here as far as his dealings with past legal issues. But I do know from what's been reported, it was illegal for him to have the gun that he had, which I think he was carrying a Glock that night, right?
Well, it don't even really matter what kind of gun he was carrying. First of all, it's nationwide. If you're a felon, you cannot possess a firearm.
Right. What I'm saying, I didn't know.
Short and sweet. If you're a felon, you cannot have a firearm. Why is he not being the defendant in one of these cases?
That's a very
Why
good.
is he not charged?
Very good question.
He's already got felony illegal firearms charge that he was convicted on.
Yes.
He cannot be in possession, let alone own a gun. He can't be in possession of one. They've got it on video. He was in possession of one. He admits on the stand that he had one.
Yeah.
Why is he not charged?
And we got him on camera pointing it at somebody.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you're exactly right. Let me see, because they're just now getting to the cross-examination. I want to hear if they play him getting caught.
To establish that Grosskreutz had pursued the teen with intent to harm him, an assertion Grosskreutz denied.
You were chasing him with your gun? Yes?
No.
You didn't chase him down Sheridan Road, pulling your gun, chasing after him. That's a lie. You're saying that didn't happen?
I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but I wasn't chasing the defendant.
You were running after
What kind of a statement is that? He just asked him, did this happen? He said, is that correct? No. You're saying it didn't happen. I'm not saying it didn't happen.
I mean, like right off the bat, the defense just starts dismantling his story.
Oh, jeez.
I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but I wasn't chasing the defendant.
You were running after him?
No.
No. Okay.
But in a key moment, the attorney used a photo taken around the time Rittenhouse fired to try to portray Grosskreutz as a threat and got the witness to admit.
Wait a minute. Try to portray? The picture they just showed, he's got his gun in Rittenhouse's face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you see his bicep mid-vaporization?
Yes, I did.
I love it. I want that picture on my wall. I am going to find that still
I'm a
shot,
big fan
and I'm
of
going
that.
to print that off.
Well, and there's going to be some people that listen and be like, oh, you guys are celebrating somebody getting shot. Listen, this guy was flat out trying to kill him.
The
Okay.
reason why this is such a big deal is because he shouldn't have been tried in the first place, which was obviously proven because he was found innocent. So he shouldn't have even been charged in the first place. Because if you are charged with 6 total charges, the first one, I believe it was last Friday, the judge dismissed himself because the charge did not fit. It was a weapons charge. His rifle was not an illegal rifle. So that charge, the judge dismissed it because it didn't qualify. It didn't meet the parameters. So if you have 6 charges brought against you, 1 is dismissed, and you are found not guilty on the other 5, you probably should not have been charged to begin with.
And I'll tell you this, I feel no pity for this guy because when you try to commit crimes on somebody else and you get shot, I'm sorry. I feel no pity whatsoever.
No. I mean,
No.
so
Too bad it wasn't 3 guys.
What would happen? So what would happen if you chase a cop down the street and you pull a gun? What's going to happen?
You're going to die.
He's going to shoot you. He's probably going to mag dump you, as a matter of fact.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so this guy shoves a pistol in another man's face. He shoots his bicep off, and then he wants to piss and moan about it. Like, are you kidding me? Like, what you was asking for it?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Let's see if he sticks his foot in his mouth here a little more.
Admit that his gun was pointed toward the teen when he was shot.
It wasn't until you pointed your gun at him, advanced on him, with your gun, now your hands down, pointed at him, that he fired, right?
Correct.
Bingo.
Rittenhouse, who has been charged
Bingo.
Yeah,
Correct.
there it is.
Correct.
That
I like to have that. Correct.
Correct.
that right there. That simple one word, correct. That right there just proves that was self-defense.
Yep.
That answer right there.
Yep.
He did not fire upon him until he had his Glock in his face. Then he shot the bicep off. Too bad it was in his head.
And now here's my thing. Why is this clown not in trouble? Number one, for having the illegal weapon.
Yep.
And they caught him in a lie.
On the stand.
The stand.
That's contempt of court. That's also perjury.
Yes.
Yes.
But this old boy, hey, whatever. He's held up as a hero in certain aspects of the media. Let me tell you, to me, this is not political. This thing's not political. This is open and shut. Somebody was about to die. He had a gun. He defended himself. Case closed. I don't care if it was Chuck Schumer that was in Kyle Rittenhouse's shoes. I would stand up and say that is self-defense.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And I literally just looked it up right now. The offense of perjury, which It's kind of a broad charge, but it can land you in prison up to 14 years. He committed perjury right there on the stand because he went into court and stated a lie. That's a perfect place to insert this. So, I was on the New York Times looking at what they had put on here. Okay? Now, this really made me mad.
Fries my apples.
Yeah, this really grinds my gears. So the headline, the jury acquitted Kyle Rittenhouse of all these 5 counts. Okay, but then the very first paragraph in this article, a jury in Kenosha, Wisconsin, acquitted Kyle Rittenhouse, a white teenager, on 5 felony counts on Friday, clearing him of criminal culpability in a shooting of 3 white men. And
why should that freaking matter?
What does race have to do with it? The guy was being the first guy, because I read up on the criminal complaints on this, because this was a big case to me.
Yeah, it was huge.
And so Rosenbaum was the first one that he shot and killed. So he was chasing Rittenhouse around a parking lot, trying to take Rittenhouse's gun. So whenever he tried to take it the last time, Kyle's like, all right, enough of this, shoots him in the chest and kills him. That has nothing to do with race.
No, but they tried. Do you know, all summer long, basically, we had all these ads coming out, even before the election, from the Biden campaign, calling Kyle a white supremacist and racist and all this, that, and the other. And my thing is, how in the world can you call somebody a racist that just shot 3 white people? A white dude that shot 3 other white people.
Exactly.
Race is not an issue in this. Good Lord.
No, but they throw out the race card. It immediately fits the liberal agenda. It immediately is headlines to get them views and get support behind it, because everybody hates a racist.
Yep.
But I shoot 3 people of the same ethnicity as me. Okay?
Ethnicity.
Come on.
Word of the day. Well, and you think
might
about it
even
too.
pronounce that word wrong. So.
That's why I hit the bell. But I might be the fool, because I don't know if you pronounced it right or not. The end of the day, they use that card against anybody that disagrees with them, because we automatically turn into stumbling fools. They're like racist. We're like, I'm not a racist. You're a racist. I'm not a racist. I have black friends. We automatically turn into these slobbering fools.
Because we have been trained to be guilty white people.
And I don't... Race should not even be a part of this discussion.
No,
it shouldn't.
But leave it to the New York Times to bring that up.
The New York Times is disgusting. When you have liberals leaving there, like Barry Weiss, whom I like, she's as lefty as can be, but even she realized this place is going to the birds, and I'm out, because she actually cared about real journalism and not propaganda crap that the New York Times has decided is their bread and butter these days.
Well, and see, the thing is, the video of this incident is all that we need to see on the news. We don't need the video posted and then have 6 people sitting around a table speculating and giving their opinion. That's not their job. They are there to say, okay, 3 people were shot in Kenosha, 2 died, 1 is hospitalized. Okay, that's the news. That's what reporting is about. It's not to sit around, Kyle Rittenhouse shot 3 people. He's a racist. And that's
you don't need 6 people sitting around the table. You only need 3 rednecks on the Hillbilly broadcast.
That's exactly
there it is. That's it.
We will tell you what's going on. Dang it.
Whether it's right or not, we will tell you.
That's exactly
With
right.
the utmost confidence that we are correct.
And let me also tell people with this, the same thing that we do, Canaan, when we're talking to people about religion. Don't take our word for it. Go look into this stuff.
Look it up.
Look it up.
Go look it up.
Go because it's easy for
it's public knowledge.
It's
you
easy
guys
for
can
me to
speak
sit
yourself.
here.
I'm saying take my word for it.
it's easy for us to sit here and just, rant and rave and holler, which we have done so far, and we will continue doing this podcast tonight.
Yeah, I'm not going to stop.
But at the end of the day, go check these facts. Go check them, draw your own conclusion. But there's another thing, too, that stuck out to me. When I was watching this prosecutor, he saw the same footage that we did, okay? He saw the exact same stuff that we did, if not more in depth. And obviously, the guy was not guilty on all charges. He was acquitted. Right. So this guy here sees exactly what we saw, which was a man on his back getting hit in the head with a skateboard, having a gun in his face.
And somebody trying to take his gun.
Yes. Which, to me, this is cut and dried self-defense.
Exactly.
But you have this prosecutor who has seen exactly what we've seen, and he's still trying to put this guy in a cage for the rest of his life. So to me, when I looked at this guy, it struck me. I'm like, I'm looking at a man that is pure evil. This prosecutor is pure evil.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah.
Because he knows he's in the wrong, and he's still yet trying to lock this guy up for the rest of his life.
It's not about justice. It's about winning, and that's all.
Yeah.
Yes.
But also the arrogance of that prosecutor.
The
arrogance that he had with that judge was just, it was just flabbergasting. I mean, he would smart that judge off like 2 and 3 times in a row.
I think overall that judge did a good job. But let me tell you something. There's no way I would let a prosecutor sit there and talk to me like that guy talked to that judge.
No. However, I will say, especially for it being this high profile of a case, and for it being, falling right into the liberal agenda, that judge was amazing. He did exactly what a judge was supposed to do. He followed the rule book, and he made both sides abide by it.
So, since we don't have somebody on the show tonight that disagrees with the outcome of the Rittenhouse verdict, let's play devil's advocate a little bit. Let me ask you guys your opinion. So one of the arguments that you will hear, even from some people on the right, and Kane and me and you had this conversation, and I've even leaned this way a little bit over the course of this trial. I don't lean that way anymore, but you'll have people that will say, listen, it may have been self-defense, but he should have never been there in the first place. He should have never put himself in that situation. Yes. What's your response to that?
I would have to say that boldly, plainly, bluntly, whatever, any guy with balls that is seeing his city being burned down is going to go do something about it. I told people here in Muncie, because there was starting to be some protest here. Thankfully, in Muncie, Indiana, it was very peaceful, and we didn't have any problems. There was a walk that was done. They walked from I think they walked from the bell tower of Ball State to the downtown of Muncie. I think it's, 3 or 4 miles, something like that. But that was all that was done. But I was very open and told people, hey, if something is to go down, they start burning things, throwing rocks to the windows, I'm going to go out and try to, maybe I won't be carrying me an AR around my neck, but I'll have a concealed weapon, and I will go and try to help out small businesses, do whatever needs to be done. Try to do whatever you can do to protect the town that you live in, and or you have any dealings with. And so I think that honestly, that's just kind of where he was at. Was they were burning the place down, destroying things, and him and some buddies were probably like, hey, let's go see what we can do to help out. That's kind of my opinion. I don't.
I think you're perfectly justified in that. One of the other things that will come up with this is they will say, well, he didn't live there. What did we hear all summer long? He crossed state lines. He went out of his way to go in there.
Well, and Phil, I got to give you big credit to this, because I think I might have heard some rumblings about it, but I didn't know for 100%, but I think we were talking about it. And you had told me, you said that was his stomping grounds. Didn't you say, I think his dad lived there in that town? He worked in that town.
Yeah, it's my understanding. That was
that's probably where he went to eat. That's probably where he went to shop. That's where he went and visited his dad. That's where he, that's where he, he did everything. That was his town.
If he worked there, okay, and they burnt down his place of employment, that's his livelihood gone.
Yes.
Yeah, he's
Yes,
got
it
a
is.
job.
He's protecting his livelihood. And
Yes.
back to the first question that you threw in there, I want to do the same thing that I was just ragging on 6 people sitting around a table doing. In my opinion, this is domestic terrorism. What was going on that night in Kenosha? They are rioting. They're just destroying stuff. They're trying to push a flaming dumpster full of gasoline into a gas station.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, to me, they're trying to make an explosive device.
Mm-hmm.
It was not 4th of July, folks.
I mean, come on. There's times that this is okay.
Yeah.
So, what do we do when we have terrorists that attack our homeland? What do? You take the fight to them and you stomp it out. It's the only way to deal with it.
Yes.
I'm a big supporter of law enforcement. However,
yes,
they failed that night.
I'm a supporter of law enforcement because without them,
Right.
our way of life
Right.
would be gone. However, they fail us quite frequently because their big bosses are playing a political game.
And that's what happened in Kenosha that night.
Exactly.
Those cops stood down. They were ordered to. Mm-hmm. And this happened time and time again. You look at the Battle of Berkeley, where they had those Antifa and all those people rioting over there. There's multiple times that the cops has been told from on high, stay where you're at. Mm-hmm. You stand there and you watch, but you stay put. So when something like that happens in Kenosha, law enforcement has failed you. Now it's your safety is completely your responsibility.
Exactly. And if you want to preserve your livelihood, because, okay, what if they're rioting in the city and around where you live? Like you live in the suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
They burn the city down. What are they going to do next? They're going to move out from that city. They've gotten away with burning the city down. They're going to move up to the suburbs. They're coming to your home next. That's why.
And some of them did. Some of them did.
Like you have
I mean,
to.
not in Kenosha. I'm talking about though. There was times that when they would move into the suburbs, they'd move into the nicer neighborhoods and stuff, and they would start damaging people's homes. They would be in their front yards.
Remember that couple in St. Louis?
Yes, they broke. And they tried the same thing with them to charge them with all this stuff when the protesters broke through a locked gate and got onto a fenced-in private residence.
Yes.
And then got all mad that they got a gun pointed. First of all, I'd have shot the first one that come in there.
Yeah.
I'd have pulled a Rittenhouse on them. But when law enforcement fails you like that, and there again, it's my personal opinion, I feel like then I have a duty to act.
I feel like even if law enforcement is on their A game, which, my opinion, most times they are. Okay? Most times law enforcement's doing their darndest, man. And especially in a lot of these rural areas, a lot of times you'll have like one guy or two guys to cover a whole county at night, So that's, to me, I would blame administration on that. Whoever's in charge of hiring deputies, we need more people. But even when they're on their A game, my safety is still my sole responsibility. Mm-hmm. I'm the one that's at risk here. If somebody breaks in my house, I'm the one that's going to die. So it ultimately is on me. I don't see any issue at all with using deadly force to defend yourself.
No.
There should be no question. And like I said, the people that, because I'll stress again, I'm not a Republican. I am not.
No,
I get so ticked off at Republicans.
Can't stand them.
But I wish the people that were on the far left side of the aisle, because I'm still center right, they need to realize this too. I want them to carry guns. You need to. This is good for you.
Exactly. Yes.
This isn't us.
Good for everybody.
Yeah. This isn't us sitting here trying to intimidate somebody and like, listen, you're a liberal. Hey, we're carrying a bunch of guns and we'll shoot you and leave you in a holler. That's not it at all. We're saying this gives you an advantage. This is how you keep yourself safe. Good.
Exactly.
Carry a gun so we all have mutual respect for everyone.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
It's just the truth. You carry a gun, I carry a gun. Me and you's going to have mutual respect for one another.
You're exactly right. And I'll give you another example too. A firearm is the great equalizer. You have 100-pound.
Yes.
You have
I see where you're going with this.
Yes. You have 100-pound, 15-year-old female, and she's getting attacked by somebody the size of Dwayne Johnson, and she pulls out a gun. All of a sudden, like Michael Scott, how the turntables have, and all of a sudden they're on a fair playing field.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep. And that right there is the best argument you can have for a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. But the main thing is get the right gun for you with a good stopping power and know how to use it.
Yes. Good Lord, learn how to use it.
Kyle Rittenhouse was a perfect example of how to use a rifle. He
Yes,
knew how
indeed.
to do it. Now,
He knew how to use it.
I didn't catch that part when I was watching the trial of him saying that Kyle had to rack the gun again. If that's the case, then Kyle had some sort of a misfire, whether a jam, whether just like his gas tube got plugged up and didn't cycle the action.
I hate when my gas tube gets plugged up.
Yeah, for real.
Come on, guys. I mean, I'm ranting and raving over here. Let's keep going.
John, you're making some really good points because not many people maybe know about ARs, but you have to be what would the right word be? Well versed with this weapon.
Yeah,
I mean,
you got to be very
gotta
proficient
know,
with it.
You got to know what you're doing with a gun to really handle that weapon well. And like you're saying, if he had to re-rack that gun, what was it, 2 times? I mean, all in that short amount of time. That's pretty impressive, honestly.
If that's the case, if that's what he had to do, he still racked the gun twice and shot a man before he shot him.
Yeah.
I mean,
let me tell you something. He knew more what he was doing with that gun than that stupid idiot with his Glock.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Kyle was very proficient with that sucker.
and watching the video, and there again, like Phil said, go watch the video for yourself.
Yep.
But when watching the video, pay close attention. Even when Kyle ended up on his back in the street, both hands were still on that rifle.
Yep.
He had full control of that rifle, and he knew where that muzzle was pointed the entire time. Nobody was taking their rifle from him.
Well, and something else that people need to understand too: you don't just grab your firearm and run out into the street like Yosemite Sam. Because also, and this is another argument for make sure you're well trained in this thing. You know what to do because you're responsible for what you do with that thing.
Oh yeah.
If you accidentally, if you pull an Alec Baldwin,
that was a good one. Perfectly timed.
Yeah, if you do something like that and wind up shooting a camera woman and whoever was standing behind her, you're responsible for this. I remember this is stuff I learned in a hunter safety course. They're like, you're responsible for what you're shooting at and what's on the other side of it.
Yeah. Once you pull that trigger, you're responsible for wherever that bullet ends up.
Yep.
You know what? What's kind of funny about this Alec Baldwin thing? Ever since I was a kid, I've known when I get a gun, the first thing I do is to check and see if it's loaded before I look that thing over. So why in the world would you pick up a gun and immediately pull the trigger without first seeing if it was loaded? Second of all, you shouldn't have pulled the trigger on a gun, especially if it was pointed at somebody.
That case right there that's a head scratcher.
Well, and here's the thing, and that's going off into a totally different thing. But like you said, always check your gun. I always feel bad even when buddies will hand me their gun and be like, "Hey, man, here, take a look." Like you said, the first thing I do is check and make sure it's unloaded. Don't have anything in it. And I always feel bad because I'm like, they're going to think that I think they're just a complete dummy and don't know how to handle this gun. But I'm just like, no, it was always drilled into me. That's what you do. It's gun safety.
Yeah.
Well,
but
it's like
we could go off on that tangent for hours.
Oh yeah.
Like a guy I work with, he bought a new AK that's chambered in the 7.62, so it's a legit AK, crazy rifle. But anyhow, he's like, "Hey, I want you to come check out this new rifle I bought." I'm like, "Cool." So we go out there. He's got it in a case. There's no magazine in it. He racks the action before he gives it to me. He gives it to me. The first thing I do, point it in a safe direction, pull that action back, and make sure there's nothing in it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
and I told him, I said, dude, it's
Yeah.
not that I don't trust you. I said, but I've had a negligent discharge before, and ever since I've taken every step to make sure I don't have another one.
Yep.
Absolutely.
But there again, that, like Kanan said, that's getting off on another subject, but that just all falls into carry your gun, but make sure you know how to use that weapon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that this was absolutely the verdict that was required.
Oh,
Yeah, I do too.
I mean, and I'm not even saying in my opinion, because 7/8 of the nation agrees with us, including some on the left.
Yes.
Based upon the video and all the evidence that was admitted to court, I mean, there was nothing that left any question in the jury's mind that it was not self-defense. If he would have got a guilty verdict, we wouldn't be able to defend ourselves like we used to.
Well, you'd have people to be afraid to.
Exactly.
They'd be afraid to try. And
Well,
rightfully
that
so.
was the exact point.
Yeah.
'Cause
Why defend yourself when you're just going to be locked up for 40 years?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So him getting acquitted on all charges, it just proves to everybody in the nation that right is still there because it's upheld by the law.
Believe it or not, I think it's good for society. When people realize, like you said, Kanan, that you can't go out and act the fool and do things to people, hurt people and put people's lives in danger. You can't do that without the fear of repercussion. That needs to be there. That's good for society. We watched this happen all summer long, and I am perfectly fine. Kanan, like you said, they did there in Muncie. They did their march, and they left. Hey, do it all day long. I don't care. That's great. In fact, that's a constitutional right. Hop to it. But as soon as you start tearing stuff up and you start hurting people, and I would do the same thing if people on my side of the aisle was doing this.
Yes.
I mean, we've all sat and talked about the January 6th and how they acted the fool up there.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yes.
Shouldn't have done it. So go do the protest. I might disagree with whatever your protest is, but you got the right to do it, and I'll support you in your right. But don't go doing stuff like this. Now we see what can happen.
That.
Yeah, I can't support that at all. And really, as far as I'm concerned, by us saying this and with these, like with this verdict, there's going to be a lot more people now that's more willing to step up and defend themselves. So really,
I hope so.
We're saying this for your benefit. Please understand, we will do what it takes to protect ourselves. So do yourselves a favor. And don't put us in stupid situations.
Yep.
I think we should. I know we touched on it. I think we should talk a little bit about this Alec Baldwin thing.
I mean, why not? It's basically the same subject. It's all about guns,
Yes, and I do not think. I think it's highly unlikely. Sorry, I'm plugging a cable in here. We're so professional around here. I do not think that
we got all the gear. We just don't know how to use it.
Yes, I don't think it was like him trying to murder somebody. Could have been.
No, it was just pure ignorance and negligence.
And there's actually been. I'm gonna have to adjust my mic again. This was 2 days ago that we heard about this. This is the headline: Alec Baldwin accused of playing Russian roulette on Rust set. Rust was the name of the movie by Gloria Allred. Oh Lord, I mean it's got to be her. But anyways, that's the lawyer that jumped up to sue him over this. So we're now getting reports, and now granted, this is in a lawsuit. So
right.
I mean, is this put into that whatever weight that you see fit? Who is it that was on his set that's actually suing him? Her name is Mamie Mitchell, and she was one of the crew members.
And got injured?
No, she wasn't injured. She
has PTSD.
Here's what it says. She's claiming assault, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and deliberate infliction of harm.
Okay, so first of all, it's hard for me to really understand civil law. Because criminal law, it's cut and dry what the charge is. you are charged criminally. Civil law, I mean, you can basically claim whatever and try to sue over it. Because, like, I've never heard of that before. I've never heard of those things. And, like, okay, did he shoot her?
No, he did not.
Was she injured by shrapnel?
No.
Then how could she claim injury?
I don't think she was. No, let's scroll down through here and make sure.
Well, while you're looking for that, I'll give this kind of the two-headed snake approach. Because obviously, you know, we're hitting on Alec Baldwin pretty hard for just being completely ignorant to gun safety. But as soon as it happened, he immediately tries to blame the prop guy. But if you look at it from the other side of it, if they're firing blanks in a movie, they make reproduction. You can, a matter of fact, I saw one, where was it? At the gun show. The last gun show I was at, I saw reproduction blank only weapons.
Okay.
To be used in a movie. What they are, the barrel in those guns are completely plugged, except for a little tiny hole that lets fire shoot out the end of the barrel. They only accept blank ammunition and cannot be, like, the material is not heavy enough. The gun's not built out of good enough material that it can be modified to fire live ammunition.
Okay.
If you're shooting blanks on a movie set, why are you not using a blank gun, first of all?
Yes.
Second of all, why was there live ammunition on the set?
Exactly.
So,
you're exactly right.
The blame goes both ways. This is just across the board because military will train with blanks. You also have simunition rounds that you can go and take civilian classes. Simunition is basically like a 9mm round that has like a chalk projectile. It hurts like a son of a gun, but it will not penetrate. It will not kill.
Right.
It's non-lethal training ammunition. Those guns you use are usually painted blue because that signifies that weapon as a simunition non-lethal weapon.
Which is not going to work on a movie set.
No. The magazines are also painted blue. That is designated a non-lethal training weapon. When you're using simunitions, you have a safety officer that goes through and checks, and there is no live ammunition inside that entire facility. Just so stuff like this doesn't happen. So if you're going to use blanks, the same thing should have been done. There should have been no live ammunition in that entire facility.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
But instead, they've got a real firearm with a live round in the chamber laying there, and he...
Well, and there was a lot of false information, too, right off the bat. We all heard for a while it was like something happened with the prop gun. You know, a piece of the prop ammunition somehow is what shot. And then it's like, dude, he shot 2 people.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So there was a lot of false information right off the bat. This article that I have pulled up here now, and by the way, I looked through this and I cannot see where she was physically harmed at all. So automatically I'm leery of her lawsuit claim.
Right.
But here's what she's claiming. Alec Baldwin, a few days before this, or at least a little while before this, was on the set of this movie playing Russian roulette. So really it sounds like to me what they're pointing at is kind of a pattern of this guy being careless and reckless.
Yes. I haven't looked into this because, I mean, let's face it, I've been focused on the Rittenhouse
Yeah,
trial.
the Rittenhouse thing's been front and center.
That definitely shows a pattern of recklessness. I don't know if it actually is a thing or not, but every actor should be trained on
I've heard
firearm safety, whether it's prop gun, whether it's a blank gun, whether it's live ammunition.
I've heard that he actually was. Now, you know the things you hear, so I don't know. Obviously,
right. They're going to claim this, and they'll come up with a fake certificate.
Yeah.
You know, what if they need to, whatever.
But when it just seems awful strange to me, especially in an industry that's as big as Hollywood, that there's has to be some kind of safety standard there. After all these years, and even going back to, what was that, the 80s, when, was that Bruce Lee's son got killed with a blank?
Yeah.
Okay, you mean to tell me there's no safety? So, to me, for me to pick up a gun and just pow, even though it's a blank, that seems like that'd be a violation of some safety standards.
It would have to be. And I won't say most because I don't research a lot of Hollywood stuff, but I do know for a fact I've even watched behind the scenes stuff for some more modern war movies. They actually opt into doing the muzzle blast and the ejecting shell case all CGI.
Yes.
Because then they remove that dummy factor.
Yes. Then you don't have that issue.
Exactly. I mean, Hollywood being as notorious for gun control as they are, I just don't get it.
Well, I think one of the things too that was very ironic about this whole Alec Baldwin thing is the fact that he's popped off over the years about gun owners. Mm-hmm. I mean, repeatedly. And Alec Baldwin, and we'll play a clip here in a minute, he has a gift for being a butthole. And you remember back when Dick Cheney shot that dude in the face?
Could you imagine? Could you imagine when Bush being like, what?
He did what?
Oh. I mean, immediately, could you imagine the mess he knows he's going to have to deal with?
It still cracks me up because it sounds so ridiculous to even say that. The vice president shot a dude in the face while out hunting. But from what I understand, after that, Alec Baldwin was popping off, and saying things about wonder what it feels like to shoot an innocent man and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people have really rubbed this in his face. And I understand it's very sad the woman died. And some people have criticized people for joking about it. But it's like, he kind of had the criticism coming.
Exactly. I mean, when you're that stupid and reckless, because to hit on that again, I put fault on both sides. Because the stuff you've been reading off, Alec Baldwin, is especially, even if he knew there was a blank in the gun, pulling the gun up and shooting at somebody is extremely reckless and stupid. But on the other side of it, it should have been a blank-only gun, and there should have been no live ammunition around.
Yes.
So that the blame in this case goes both ways. This is ridiculous.
Well, I think it does, but doesn't it ultimately have to stop at Baldwin?
It does, because he's the one that pointed it and pulled the trigger.
Yep. He didn't check it. He pointed. He pulled the trigger and killed
We hit
somebody.
on this with Kane just a little bit ago when it comes to hunting regulations.
Mm-hmm.
We've been told since we went through hunter's education, when you pull the trigger, from that point until the bullet stops moving, you are responsible, for it.
That's exactly right.
So the blame is on both sides leading up to the incident.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, when Alec Baldwin pointed at that woman and pulled the trigger, that was his fault.
Yep, I agree.
Where's the murder charge on him, by the way?
I think what we're hearing is we're still investigating it. I'm going to say,
where's the reckless homicide? Where's the reckless manslaughter? Because I don't believe for a second that this was intentional.
No, I don't think so.
But where's the reckless? Where's the reckless charges?
If I accidentally shot you, I'm going to jail.
Yeah, they're going to get you,
or at least I'm going on trial. I'm going to have a rough road to hoe for a little while.
Yeah, if you don't kill me, they're going to get you with reckless endangerment, with serious bodily injury, with a deadly weapon.
Look at those guys that put on the bulletproof vests and were shooting each other with 22s for fun.
9mm, wasn't it?
I thought it was 22s, but it could have been. Anyways, two consenting adults.
Yeah,
engaging in their sport of choice.
Got drunk and said, hey, let's put on this bulletproof vest and shoot each other.
Yeah, didn't hurt each other. We're acting the fool, and they got arrested.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how is that any worse than this, where a woman died?
They could have very easily, especially being drunk, could have killed one or the other one.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. It was very stupid and reckless what they was doing. However, nobody even got hurt.
No.
In this case, a woman died, and a second one was injured.
It's a darn shame, and I'm curious to see how it's going to turn out. But it's Alec Baldwin; he's a darling of the left.
Exactly.
He berated Trump for 4 years and played him on SNL, and what's going to happen to this guy?
Yep.
I'd be willing to bet nothing. Now, to showcase what a complete and total butthole Alec Baldwin is. He was stopped by a news organization, and I was trying to find the actual clip from that news organization so we don't have to hear a bunch of commentary. Now, granted, he's being followed by paparazzi, so I understand you'd be a little aggravated, But we all know Alec Baldwin has like assaulted journalists in the past.
Yeah.
You know, we know the kind of guy that this is. But he was approached by them. I think they actually were following him in their cars because this video is just in the middle of the backwoods somewhere.
That's what it looks like. He's probably trying to kill them.
So let me see if I can get this to play.
I will.
What do you want to know?
All right, Ali, what's the current state of what's going on with the case?
I'm not allowed to make any comments because it's an ongoing investigation. I've been ordered by the Sheriff's Department in Santa Fe. I can't answer any questions about the investigation. I can't. It's an active investigation in terms of a woman died. She was my friend. She was my friend. The day I arrived in Santa Fe to start shooting, I took her to dinner.
I think it's funny. I can't make any comments about it, and proceeds to make comments. You understand I can't say anything, but I'll tell you this about
with Joel, the director. We were a very, very, we were a very, very...
That person he's getting snippy with is his wife or girlfriend or whatever, and he's getting snippy with her. She's just walking up to him.
You know, well-oiled crew shooting a film together, and then this horrible event happened. Now, I've been told multiple times, don't make any comments about the ongoing investigation, and I can't.
After I just did.
What are the questions that you have other than that?
You met with I'm afraid I forget her name in the moment, but you met with her family in the day.
Helena.
Yes,
her
I
name
met
is
with her
Helena. If you're spending this much time waiting for us, you should
don't
know
know
her
her
name.
name?
Her name.
Listen, you killed her. Don't get high and mighty with them about not knowing her name, dang it.
She was your victim.
Yeah. You shot her and you're mad because we don't know her name. Good Lord, this guy.
This just showcases the leftist view. I'm going to be mad at you about something, whether or not it makes sense.
Yes, and a lot of people, they have to find the moral high ground.
Yes.
And they'll create it if it's not there. Do you ever notice a lot of people, if they're losing an argument, they'll do like, excuse me, could you please? Could you let me talk?
Yeah.
And then they'll go slow. That judge, the lawyer did that.
Yes, in the Rittenhouse case. I would like to make a statement without being interrupted.
Yeah, they'll get real aggressive at first, and then they'll slow down, and they'll drag out their quiet berating of you. You know, excuse me, could you please let me speak uninterrupted? You know, it's like, yeah, people's got to have the moral high ground.
Helena Hutchins. I met with her husband Matthew and her son. Yeah, that's right.
And how did that meeting go?
That's kind of a stupid question. I met with her husband and her son. How'd the meeting go?
Sir, I shot and killed your daughter.
Why are we laughing at this? It's kind of funny.
I'm laughing because it's a Hollywood actor.
Yes.
That's why I'm laughing.
These people are so fake, man. So fake. And here's something else, too. This little outrage thing he's got on that he's portraying. What does he do for a living?
Acts.
Exactly right.
I wouldn't know how to characterize them. They're mortified.
You guys, you know what? No details.
But do me a favor. I'm gonna answer the question.
Dude. He takes her in hand, man.
Oh, man. I tell you what, though. I would, too, because just looking at her face, I want to punch it.
Oh, she's annoying. She is really annoying.
I just want to crow hop pop her in the mouth.
What'd you say? Crow hop?
So that comes from another buddy I work with. She had said that she was going to crow hop and punch somebody in the mouth. So I said, I'm going to start calling that the crow hop pop.
The crow hop pop. I like that. I'll remember that for later.
That he was probably very upset.
The guy is overwhelmed with grief. This is something that you know, there are incidental accidents on film sets from time.
Can you imagine how weird this would be? So that car, for people that are listening, was just driving past. And like I said, it looks like they're out in the middle of the backwoods. And this car slows down because can you imagine driving like, here stands Alec Baldwin out in the middle of nowhere.
As the car drives by, the window rolls down again, comes out the window.
berating a nerd that's holding a cell phone camera trying to get an interview.
Time to time, but nothing like this. This is a 1 in a trillion episode. It's a 1 in a trillion event. And so he is in shock. He has a 9-year-old son. We are, in constant contact with him because we're very worried about his family and his kid. And
look at him even trying to walk away from his gal.
Yeah, like it's all about him right now. Even though he's trying to act like he's so mad, this is a him show.
Yes, but I feel like you can just almost taste the disgust he feels for that woman.
Oh yeah.
This relationship's not going to last.
As I said, we're eagerly awaiting for the sheriff's department to tell us what their investigation has yielded. What else do you have?
Would you ever work on another film set that involves firearms of that nature?
I couldn't answer that question. I really don't have any. I have no sense of that at all. I do know that an ongoing effort to limit the use of firearms on film sets is something I'm extremely interested in. Where are you?
Moral high ground again.
Yep.
You can't blame me for killing this woman. I want to limit these things. Oh, man.
I mean, why can't... Hang on. I'm about to...
Pull yourself up the upside.
I got to get that chaw out of my mouth so I could really rave. Okay. Let me get my train back on the track here. Yeah, I lost it.
We'll continue.
But remember something that I think is important, and that is how many bullets have been fired in films and TV shows in the last 75 years. This is
I don't know about the last 75 years, but I know of one that was just fired recently.
Oh, this is fantastic.
Americans, how many bullets have gone off in movies, firearms on film sets is something I'm extremely interested in. Yeah, where are you? But
what do we
remember,
do?
something that I
Something
think is
with their
important,
film.
and that is how many bullets have been fired in films and TV shows in the last 75 years. This is Americans. How many bullets have gone off in movies and on TV sets before? How many billions in the last 75 years? And nearly all of it without incident.
You know, you're a journalist. Could you get a crappier camera, please?
But also, he's wrong on that. How many bullets have gone off? Are you talking about actual ammunition?
Yeah.
Then probably none. Because you cannot safely discharge live ammunition on a movie set. I mean, come on. You've got sound guys everywhere. Most of the movie sets are inside of a building.
Yeah.
He don't even know the difference between blank ammunition, live ammunition, and CGI.
I think he does. He's just trying to save face. He's trying to save his image.
That could be.
And he's under extreme attack right now, rightfully so.
Yeah.
His attitude, though, is just enraging, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So what has to happen now is we have to realize that when it does go wrong, and it's this horrible, catastrophic thing.
No. We don't have to realize nothing.
We don't have to realize nothing. You need to realize how to properly handle a firearm.
I would say everybody that has killed a woman on a movie set needs to realize.
Matter of fact, I would dare say you're the only one that's ever shot and killed a woman on a movie set.
This is terrible.
Some new measures have to take place. Rubber guns, plastic guns, no real armaments on set. That's not for me to decide. It's urgent. It's urgent that you understand I'm not an expert in this field. So
apparently not.
Other people decide is the best.
Yeah, I've only been acting for 30 years in movies with guns. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Way to go in terms of protecting people's safety on film sets. I'm all in favor of, and I will cooperate with that in any way.
He's all in favor of people's safety.
I'm in favor of people's safety. I'm not an animal. I'm a human being. but however, I just shot and killed a woman. So
yes.
Let's make this movie set safer.
Yes, I am all about safety. And if you don't follow the safety guidelines, I'll shoot you in the face.
In the words of our esteemed governor, follow the effing guidelines.
Do you have any further projects in the works at the moment, or is everything on
No,
hold?
that's irrelevant to what we're talking about.
Do you think production will start
arrogant
up again?
idiots.
No, I doubt it. Necessarily. Was there anything else?
Why Vermont, Alex?
Because
That's
we just
no. That's a
private.
person. That's private. Yeah, that's private. Anything else?
Okay.
So just do me a favor, you don't mind? My kids are in the car crying.
Because you guys are following
And
them
all I
and
want
they
to do,
know.
as a courtesy to you, I came to talk to you. I'm not allowed to comment on the investigation. I talk to the cops every day. I talk to them every day to find out.
They know what you are.
I'm cooperating with them, of course. So my point is that I'm just asking. We sat down as a courtesy now to talk to you. Now, please, would you just not follow us for the rest of Just leave us alone.
Just go home.
We gave
Go
you everything
home.
we could
Thank
possibly
you.
give you, okay?
Thank you.
Go home.
Condolences. Thank you.
Now turn it off.
Oh, look at the resting face on that one, huh?
Oh yeah.
Man, what a buffoon.
And turn the camera off now. She's had hers on the entire time and it's still on.
Yeah.
Freedom of press.
Well, and here's the thing too. He's like, my kids are screaming in the car. Then why'd you pull over in the middle of the woods?
If you think somebody is following you, what do? Call the cops!
You don't find the most remote road
Exactly.
in the whole state of Vermont and say, I think we'll talk here.
I mean, hey, that's pretty simple. I mean,
Oh, geez. These people, man. Why does it seem like a lot of artistic people, they just have no connection with what it's like to be
they
a
have
normal
no
human
common
being?
sense. No common sense.
It's like I just don't get it at all.
I shot and killed a woman.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my fault.
Yeah.
What?
I literally killed a woman and shot another. And I would like to speak to you about safety reform.
How about you don't point the gun in the first place?
Yeah, how about we
jackwagon?
start there? How about you quit shooting people on a movie set?
That was our first step to safety. Don't let Alec Baldwin on the set with a gun.
Oh, man. Oh, the arrogance. Gee whiz. One thing we can say, though, about Alec Baldwin.
He don't have a job. Scared the poop out of me right there. I thought Alec Baldwin would just come in the studio.
Thought you was about to get shot.
Yes, I did. Woo. All right.
Well, the joke fell flat, but that was even funnier.
Man, I need to clean my shorts.
Oh, man.
I mean, I hated that a woman got shot.
Yes.
You know, and I absolutely am not making fun of that fact. It's just the way it's being handled.
Mm-hmm.
There really doesn't need to be any investigation. I pointed a gun at a woman. I pulled the trigger. She's dead. Another person's injured. There's your investigation.
You know exactly what this reminds me of? Do you remember the episode from The Office where Dwight accidentally shot the gun? And then he tried to cover it up. He's like, well, how do you know it was me? I mean, I was holding a gun, but did any of you actually see the bullet leave the gun? This reminds me of Dwight trying to get out of it.
Yeah, I mean, like, they're probably talking about the sheriff's department's probably trying to investigate who brought live ammunition, who put live ammunition in the gun, all that stuff. That is not for the cops to decide. That's not part of a criminal investigation because that does not pertain to the fact that he picked up a loaded firearm and killed a woman. You know what I mean?
It seems like the criminal act is on him.
Yes, the criminal act is absolutely on him.
I'm no lawyer. I'm no cop, but
He's the one that killed the woman and injured another. He is criminally responsible.
yes. And I think we're going to keep seeing these lawsuits pop up where, like, I'm really depressed now. Especially, I found out I was really depressed when I realized how much money Alec Baldwin has. I mean, obviously, that would be a bad situation to go through. Somebody getting shot in the face right beside you. But come on.
I mean, how can you blame? I mean, because first of all, how is there any way to prove that you didn't have depression and anxiety before that happened? How can you say that that's not an ongoing situation and that this just caused a flare up?
Well, to be fair, doesn't everybody have depression in Hollywood?
Yeah.
Seems like everybody either commits suicide or dies of a drug overdose.
Or gets shot by Alec Baldwin.
I like it. I think that's a pretty good place to end it. What do you think?
I think that's perfect.
I like it. It's good to have you back. I'm glad you're back home.
Yeah, dude. Been great.
Got anything you want to say before we leave? Stay away from Alec Baldwin.
You stole it. That's what I was going for.
We'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Hillbilly Broadcast. We hope you like what you heard. If you didn't, and you really want to make us mad, go to wherever you listen to the podcast and give us a 5-star rating. It will drive me insane with anger. If you did like the show and you want to support it, go to anchor.fm/Phil Sparks, where you can become a monthly supporter if you so desire. While you're there, you can also send us a voice message and we'll play it on the show. Or if you don't want us to, we won't play it on the show. That's your call. Also, if you want to send us feedback, you can reach us by email at hillbillybroadcast@aol.com. That's right, we're so cool, we still use an AOL address. You can also find the Hillbilly Broadcast on Facebook and connect with us there. And I am on Twitter at Phil Sparks Show. Once again, thank you for listening. We love you, the good Lord loves you, and we'll see you next time.